Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about the rain, and not that step in the water cycle. No, we're talking about the show that streams on Netflix exclusively for my benefit. At least it feels that way at this point, because I don't ever see this show advertised outside of like the first season, and I feel like seasons 2 and 3 were just like, Chris, hey, it's us, Netflix, just want to let you know, new season of Rain just for you, bud. And I think that is the case, because most people who I know that watched any bit of The Rain tapped out after, like, episode 2. And I foolishly kept going through season 1 and then season 2 and now season 3. And I guess the purpose of this video is just me stream of conscious trying to figure out why. Because there's a legitimate reason that people could have for tapping out in season 1, and it's because the show is bad, and it's been bad. But for me, it's that show. Okay, it's just that show, and everybody has that show. The one that, even though you know the quality is diminished, there's just something about it that you have to keep watching it. It doesn't even matter, like, what they do at this point. You're gonna keep watching. For most people, that show is like The Walking Dead, or it was Game of Thrones. Something where there was a level of quality at one point, perhaps, and even if the quality diminished over time, you kept watching because there was still that good track record and that little bit of hope that you held on to that the quality would return to when the show was at its best. Like, Game of Thrones is probably the biggest example of this, and I feel like a lot of people feel that way. I certainly do. The quality of that show really went downhill after season 4, but before that, there's over 40 hours of content that was really good, and so that gave you that little glimmer of hope that they would go back to that level of quality, and it just never did. But the thing about The Rain is, there's arguably 2 good episodes of the whole show, and the quality went down immediately afterward, so why is it that show for me? Why do I feel the obligation to watch The Rain in the same way somebody would have felt obligated to watch Game of Thrones or Walking Dead? Well, that's what I've been trying to figure out, because, I mean, season 3 just concluded, and it's still just as bad. Like, the concept brought me in the very beginning, however many years ago that was. The concept of there's this big rainstorm that happens, and everybody who got caught in it fucking died. And I was like, okay, that's enough for a concept. That's enough of a hook. Even though you kind of have to suspend your disbelief to believe that 98% of Sweden's population would have been outside during the course of this rainstorm. Like, that's a bit to where throughout the course of the show there's like 40 people, and I'm not talking about characters that you actually like know their names. I'm counting extras and henchmen characters and just faceless fucks in the background. There's like 40 people in the whole show that are still alive. So like, I even said 98% being like generous. It's like 99.9, and even better, the surviving people are all like between the ages of 18 and 24, so it's okay for us to follow their melodrama, because you know, love bout to bloom. It's dumb. It is incredibly dumb afterwards, because when the first season starts, it takes you in this like bunker, and there's a brother and a sister that live there, and their father put them in the bunker before the rain even happened because he worked for the evil umbrella adjacent corporation that was responsible for the rain in the first place. And from there, instead of it being a show about like survival and getting from place to place, staying away from the rain, the rain, the title of the show doesn't really come into play from, I would say, probably the halfway point of season 1 through to now. It hasn't even rained. It's like occasionally they'll do like a flashback to before, when they introduce a new character. They'll be like, here's this new character. He, like everyone else, lost somebody when the rain happened. That makes them interesting, and go out into the world, buddy. Go get over with this audience. And it's really poorly done. Like, characterization is a major issue with this series, in that if it doesn't know what to do with a character, they will just meander about and just hang out in the background, just chilling, really. Like, there's a character who's introduced in the early parts of season 1. His name is Martin, and he's the love interest. Even though when he meets the female lead, whose name is Simone. When he meets Simone, he's like a robber, and him and his buddy Patrick are breaking into their bunker looking for like food, and they're gonna steal all the shit. And like, I guess he just wants to get his dick wet because Simone's an attractive female, so he's just like, well, I mean, that's just how these dynamics work in shows. So they get together, of course. But the second they get together is when he loses most of his interesting character traits, because like, he really is just the muscle. He's the muscle who is the love interest of the main character. Like, he only allows her along because he's attracted to her, and he lets her little brother Rasmus along because, well, ain't gonna get your dick wet if you kill her little brother. She ain't gonna like that at all. She ain't gonna be horny for long if you kill a little brother. So I guess we gotta let him come along too. And then in season 2, they're just dating, and then he just becomes the muscle. He's just the guy with a gun, and he exists from a writing standpoint. If the group gets into any sort of conflict with armed enemies, he's got a gun, so that's what he's there for. And then the weirdest thing happens, because in all of season, he's the worst part of season. Well, he's not the worst part, but he's a very major problem in season 2 because he doesn't do anything other than, oh no, enemies, and that's it. That's all he's there for. In season 3, for the first half of it, he is still just meandering about because he's like, I love Simone, and that is my whole character. And then he thinks Simone dies, and now he's got a crisis because he's like, I'm not with her. I think I saw her die. What do I do? And then he becomes, he allows himself to get infected with the virus because, of course, the rain, it's Umbrella. I said Umbrella adjacent earlier. The evil company is called Apollon, and they're Umbrella, okay? They're creating a virus that will infect people, but instead of doing anything, it's just creating basically monsters that are people who wear the latest fashion, the fall fashion at JCPenney. It's matching evil henchmen outfits, but not like a military uniform. It's like sweater vests and fucking cargo pants, like gray cargo, a lot of grays and silvers, and just very pleasant looking. But anyway, he allows himself to get infected with the virus, and then he dies. And like, him getting infected with the virus is like the most interesting thing he's done in 2.5 seasons. And then that's when they kill him off. And I don't know if they're gonna do a season 4. I don't know if they're gonna do a season 4 because the way it ended, the way season 3 ended, it didn't set anything up. There's all of the antagonists are dead. We have had enough time for characters to react to the various plot developments. Even new characters that came along in the halfway point. There's only 6 episodes. Characters that came in over the halfway point of season 3 have had an opportunity to be fully characterized. They've reacted to what's going on. They haven't set up anything new to happen. It's just, that's it. We're just good to go. And I feel like this season was the end. And if they bring on a new season, it'll be a stretch. And I guess what I'm struggling with is, am I going to watch if there's a season 4? Or can I convince myself that this show doesn't need to be that show for me? Because even what little I've just told you is really just scratching the surface of how terrible it is. It's not a good show. Like, what I do enjoy about it, there is some entertainment value. It's not like I'm watching this and like pulling my hair out, my recently dyed hair out. No, I'm watching it and I'm entertained by like little silly things that happen. Like, there's dumb character modes. The characters are dumb. They are stupid to a level that is inconceivable. Like, there is at the end of season 3, there's the final confrontation between Simone and the main villain. I'll just fuck it. Nobody's watching this show but me. Her brother ends up becoming the bad guy. Okay, so the brother Erasmus is the villain, and he goes through like a lot of mood swings in the season to where he's like, I want to kill everybody. And then he's like, oh, I'm not killing everybody. I want to save everybody. That's what I want to do. Killing people is stupid. I don't want to do that. And then he's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna kill everybody. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna kill them all. That's what I want. And so they're having the final confrontation, and they're like in the bottom of a pool. Like, they stole the pool scene from what was that movie? Annihilation. They stole the pool from Annihilation. So they got like they got a bunch of weird shit growing in the bottom of like an empty like swimming pool. And so the two of them, they find this like flower grows in this pool, and the pollen of the flower either negates or cures the virus. It's not really well explained, but it's anti-evil phlegm smoke virus that this stuff looks like. And they're having their confrontation. They're yelling at each other, and she's just like, I just wanted my baby brother back. And he's just like, it's too late. I'm fucking evil now. This is the way this has gone. I'm done. Like, I'm gonna kill you, and I'm gonna kill your friends, and I'm gonna laugh while doing it. And so then everybody turned, like, even his henchmen, like, they all surround the pool. They're all on the walk. What would that be? Like, the walkway around the pool. They're all hanging out, and they're all just, like, staring at him in a big circle, and he's, like, turning around. He's like, everybody betrayed me. What's wrong with all of you? Why are you turning against me? And like, even the people who he's just like screaming at, like, I'm gonna kill you, they're all just like, nah man, that's not cool. I didn't sign up for this. Like, I was willing to be an evil henchman for the 30 minutes of this episode where we needed to build tension by having us look like we were threatening, but man, now that I know that this has been your plan, man, I'm not a part of this. And so he's been like getting sicker and sicker as the season has gone on, where he's like, because he's like the progenitor of the virus. Like, he was the first person to be infected because his dad infected him with it. Woo. Of course he did. It's like, it's the Birkins. This is Resident Evil, basically. So, he's getting sicker and sicker because the virus is taking over. And he's like still screaming about how he is like the next step in evolution. Like, he is beyond human, and he's screaming at everybody. And him and his girlfriend, they walk close to the flower, which has a defense mechanism that will make them, it will explode. But it's like, they change the rules, because when they set up the fact that the flower has a defense mechanism, to the point where like the character they introduce, he's like extracting the pollen, and he's like I've got to be extremely careful, because if I touch the stamen or if I touch the petals, the defense mechanism will kick in, and it sends out like a shockwave that will just like tear your body apart. And they reincorporate this actually multiple times throughout the season, so that way you're aware of it. And when you see at the end the confrontation between Simone and Erasmus, they're like, he's like getting closer to it, and you're like, okay, so he's gonna try and get the stuff for himself and destroy it, because it's the only thing that can negate the virus. He's gonna try and destroy it, but not knowing the defense mechanism that the flower has, it'll basically tear him apart, and it will give our main character an out, essentially, because it's a lot different for her to like take a knife and fucking plunge it into his heart. That's very different from her just casually stepping out of the way, like, all right, you want to take this flower, you fucking take this flower. And then when it tears him apart, you can be like, I didn't kill him. the flower did. The flower killed him. I didn't. Hands are clean. But they don't do that. Instead, what was set up and shown numerous times as being like a concussive blast with like, I don't remember what it was, but it's something that basically it like penetrates the body and it puts some wonderful red syrupy prosthetics on your face if you get hit with it. So Rasmus and his girlfriend walk up to it, and it explodes in like a huge blue light, and it knocks everybody back. But him and his girlfriend are just like in a casual spoon. They're just spooning, but they're dead. So they get buried, and then it's just, and then a new flower has grown, and the end of the season shows Simone. She's got the flower in like a little vial, and she's like thanking the brother. She's like, I know you just wanted to help everybody. You just wanted to save everybody. I was like, what are you talking about? He just had a screaming monologue about how he was the next step in human evolution and all the other humans needed to die. He didn't want to save shit. He wanted to save himself and whoever he could manipulate into following him. So, yeah, I didn't care for that. Honestly, there really isn't anything to say. The Rain is a bad show. It's been a bad show the whole time, basically. It had an interesting concept, and then it was just like, let's be a poor man's Swedish knockoff of Resident Evil. And without really any of what makes Resident Evil what it is, which is the survival horror elements. Melodrama is not what made Resident Evil what it was. So this is like taking concepts from Resident Evil and adding young adult melodrama. It's just not good. And that's really what I've got to say on The Rain. I wouldn't recommend you watch it, because like I said, it's not good. If they somehow come out with a season 4 next year, I might be intrigued to watch one episode just because I have no idea what they're going to do. Because like I said, the evil corporation is in tatters. They're basically all... The only people who are still alive from the evil corporation are like faceless lab coat wearers who just hang out. Like they don't have names. They're just the people who are like, yes sir, I will do what you say, sir. I don't think any random yes man who wasn't even cared about to be given a name in the script, I don't think they would work as a new antagonist. They haven't set anything up. The major crux of the plot, even if you wanted to say the relationship between Simone and her brother, that's gone now. The major conflict causers are dead. The boyfriend's dead. She's got no love interest anymore, unless they do the thing, because they introduce like a backup boy for her who like she clearly likes but doesn't get with, because like, I'm dating Martin, and sorry Daniel, I'm dating Martin. And Daniel's like, oh, all right. I will say that. I will give it credit for that. Like, this dude takes rejection in, like, the best way possible. And he has just gotten, like, the show sets up just, like, how unfortunate his love life has been. Because, like, he's dating this one girl. And, like, they were going on a trip together when the rain hit. And then, they managed to survive because they were hanging out in their, like, RV. And then years later, like after the rain had subsided, she like tried to steal some of their food and run away. And so his father fucking like kills her. So there goes girlfriend one. And then this like other fucking manic pixie dream girl falls in his lap. And he's just like, hey, I like you. You're pretty cool. And she's like, I'm dating somebody. And he's like, oh, okay. All right. That's good for you, I guess. And then when the boyfriend dies, he doesn't just like come up like fucking rebound time. Like he hangs out in the back and he waits for her to smile first, so that way you know it's okay for him to make his moves. yeah, I doubt there would be much for a season 4. What am I kidding? I'll end up watching it, and then I'll report my findings back here. But the reason why I've watched this very bad show so far is because it's that show. And that's all I've got. So if you were able to follow along with any of this, cool. I appreciate you. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you want to hear me wax poetic on other stuff. I've got some scripted videos coming that are going to be pretty fun, I think. One of them's going to be very exciting to a lot of old-time fans, if I have any of those. And here's a question for you. What is your That Show? Let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to support me directly, you can check out my Patreon, patreon.com/ChrisTheNerd92. Peep the perks. My Twitter and Insta are going to be in the description. And my books will be linked there as well, because I write stuff, guys. That's very important for you to know. But until next time, I am Chris, and thank you for playing along.